Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Mindful Corner.
We're so glad to be back, and we hope you all had an amazing holiday season.
For today's episode, we'll be discussing the importance of proper nutrition and its role in maintaining good mental health.
And we are so blessed and grateful to be bringing along a health coach, Samantha Ault, to share her expertise and advice on the topic.
We're so excited to have you on.
So tell us, how did you get into health coaching and studying nutrition?
Yeah, well, actually, it's kind of an interesting story because about a year ago, went through some interesting health issues, like with my thyroid and developing some acne and different things. And I had been seeing a holistic practitioner for a little bit of time, but just wasn't really getting like all of the answers that I was hoping for. And it still kind of wasn't adding up. And actually, throughout my entire childhood, I had like stomach pain and different like digestion problems and things like that. So it kind of was a problem that needed to be addressed. And so walking through all of that, and I'm kind of just like still walking through all of that, I really had like thought this is actually really interesting, and I wish that I could help other people in the way that like the people that I ended up finding were helping me. And so I just Googled like, is there a career that I don't have to fully go back to be like a chiropractor or a doctor or anything like that? And health coaching came up. And so I was like, looked more into it. And then we prayed about it. And my husband and I were like, yeah, I think that this is going to be something that could be a next chapter for me. So I just kind of jumped right in.
That's awesome. Great to hear.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So, like, if you feel comfortable sharing, do you think that, like, your issues with, digestion, did that affect your mental health at all? Or no?
I would say a little bit. I have been more of like an anxious person. I wouldn't say that like it was like a chronic or like a clinical type of anxiety, but I did just get more anxious about like even from a young age, like going to school. Like I used to run out of school when I would get dropped off because I would feel so anxious about going. And so I did always have like a little bit of anxiety. And so it could have definitely been related. And as I have like worked with these holistic practitioners and checked on my hormones and seen like what foods cause inflammation and different things like that, I have noticed that at different times and depending on what I eat, I do feel like more clear-minded and more focused versus like less motivated and different things like that.
Yeah, that's really nice, because my next question was going to be like, as you've studied, being a health coach and nutrition in general, do you feel like mental health and nutrition kind of work hand in hand together?
100%. Yeah. I mean, the gut really is like if you think about like a watch, like it's the centerpiece. And so the gut really affects the rest of our body. And so if you think of like, okay, everything that you're eating is also affecting your mood and your mental health and your hormones, that's really where it all starts. And it does affect everything else, kind of like a trickle effect, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely relate to like all that you're saying, and it's like good to know and like hear from your perspective because you're studying it and you're truly learning about it. Because I've noticed these changes in myself, but like putting a label on it and like actually knowing that it's something that is studied and like seen in like nutritional science is very important. I've noticed that like whenever I'm bloated, whenever I've eaten just like fried foods that like hurt my stomach, I always feel more anxious. I always feel more just down, and I've never like really correlated it too much with mental health, but now that you're mentioning this, it does make sense.
Yeah. It honestly kind of feels like a fake out, because you're eating these foods that you think taste so good, like a fried food or like a sweet treat, but it's actually hurting you. And I think we kind of talked about this on the last episode about like things we think are helping us in the moment, like picking our skin, or for me it was like getting high. Like I just always thought that was what's going to help me because it created that quick fix, but in the long run it's not good for your brain. So I think it sounds like nutrition and gut health and all that stuff are similar in the fact that like you might think you're doing something good for the short term, but the long term has way better effects.
They truly do. Like sometimes the first thing I'll turn to when I'm sad will be like, I don't know, like I'll convince myself a sweet treat will be like the fix, or like just indulging in something, but then sometimes that can lead to just a lack of balance. And definitely with issues I've dealt with in the past with like with eating disorders and with just overindulging in things, or also like not indulging enough in things, food can definitely be a trigger for mental health issues. So knowing that balancing your nutrition and having just, I don't know, having good practical ways of practicing good nutrition, like how that can play into mental health is really important. So
yeah, because it's really hard with like I think, with just beauty standards and anything in general. And honestly, I love a sweet treat. Like, I'm never gonna not have one. Like,
100%.
I'm not gonna say that, but it's like it's a really delicate balance between like the sweet treat I want to eat and like overindulging.
Right.
So I was wondering if there are any tips of like maintaining that balance and that nutrition habit, because obviously I don't want to put any guilt around food, because I think that creates kind of a toxic like vibe around food. Like, I don't want to feel guilty when I'm eating, because sometimes when I was in the summer when I was really depressed, like the only reason I would get out of bed is to go get a cookie. But it's like, if I got out of bed, that's a healthy choice. In my opinion, I think that's a healthy choice, because at least I'm out of my bed, I'm up, I'm like, so I definitely think that there is a balance between like overindulgence and like relying on these things that are hurting you, and also like not feeling guilty with food, and
like there needs to be balance, just like a middle ground. So if you have any practical tips about that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that everyone should do their own research and like think about like even like making a log of like, okay, what foods like make me feel worse versus what foods make me feel better, just so that you have like some knowledge about your own body, and then also doing some research behind the things that you're eating and the lifestyle habits and daily things that you're doing. But I would say it's definitely good to start with like one thing, because it can be so overwhelming if you're like, I need to make 100 changes in 10 days so that I can feel better. But starting with one thing, even like a small thing, like today at the store, I'm not going to buy any chips because I feel like that makes me feel more anxious or whatever it is. And then you don't buy chips that day. And so starting with one thing that's like really achievable for you could be a helpful tool.
Yeah, I definitely love all these tips. I think it's really important to set just little goals and to gradually build up and to just build a good lifestyle. Because I think if you set all these unrealistic goals, like you have to meet all of them in one day and, you know, expecting perfection, it's not going to go well for you. And that's definitely something that I've done in the past. I've set so many goals for myself and then felt so disappointed, because at the end of the day, you can't do everything. You can't do everything at once. So in the past, this kind of led to a lot of food guilt, a lot of just like insecurity and just self-image issues, which kind of going into this is something I haven't really opened up about too much. And I am really happy to open up about it though, because I think it's really important to spread awareness, because so many people deal with it, and more people than you think. But a few years ago, when I was in my junior year of high school, I just started struggling a lot with food guilt. I always had this guilt surrounding food. I was always obsessively tracking my calories and just always paying attention to what I was eating, which it to a certain extent is good. It's good to be watchful of what you're eating, and you also don't want to get to the extreme where you're binging or you're eating, you know, super unhealthy foods. But it was very obsessive to the point where I was not eating enough for my own body. Everyone's body is different, but mine, I was an athlete and I wasn't properly nourishing myself for what I was doing. So I lost a lot of weight in a short amount of time in junior year and went to the doctor. They were like, you are anemic. You are having issues with your heart. Like, you need to like figure this out. And we also think you have anorexia based on, it wasn't even that I was like critically skinny where I was like, you know, I was like skin and bone, but I was like, my mindset was just so messed up with food. Like, I was so guilty about everything that I was eating that they were like, you may not be anorexic by the way you look, but just the way that your mindset is, like, we're diagnosing you with it because this needs to change. You need to take away this guilt surrounding food. Which over that summer between my junior and senior year, I worked on that. But then I went to sort of this like other extreme. I started to I finally thought I had reached like food freedom. And for me, freedom was eating whatever I wanted. And then that kind of trickled into just overindulging and just led to more like binging behaviors and just more like a lack of control around food. So I've definitely dealt with both ends of the spectrum when it comes to eating habits. And eventually I was able to find a middle ground and realize that food doesn't have to be something that you restrict yourself with, but it also doesn't have to be an area of life that you lack control in. Like, you can control yourself and you can watch where you're eating and make healthy choices, but at the same time not do it obsessively. So I'm really glad you brought that up about setting little goals every day, because that's something I definitely want to try to implement, because I still have little habits from the past that come in. And I think setting those little goals for yourself and just getting 1% better each day is so important. So.
Yes, I definitely agree with that, because I kind of had the same thing in high school where I got sick. I think it was my senior year. I got sick and I was not hungry because I had like a cold or something. I don't even remember, but like I literally would eat a slice of bread in the morning and a slice of bread at night because that's all I was hungry for. And I lost like 15 pounds in like 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I felt amazing.
Right.
And because that's just like the society, like talking is like, I felt great in my body, but I was having trouble focusing. I would have to stay after school at like for band practice, and I would be so tired when I got home because
food is
sick,
fuel.
first of all, and you're making yourself sicker by eating nothing. Mm-hmm. And like, so then I was like, okay, well, I have to keep this weight, my sick weight. Like, I just think that's crazy. Like, right. I was trying to keep my sick weight by like going on a calorie deficit, but I was also scared of like going over my calorie deficit, so I would try to save at least 200 calories in my app in case I accidentally went over. And I was just so obsessed with it. I would count single food, like to the point where I was thinking about food probably 24/7.
Right.
Like it was kind of just something that was always on my mind, and
becomes an obsession.
It becomes an obsession. It really does. And I think coming into college, like, at least for me, I don't know if this is like a common experience, but I thought when I went to college, all my problems were going to go away because I had freedom. I had all this stuff. I had all this, like, all these resources available to me, and I can eat whatever I wanted and I could cook whatever I want because I was blessed to have a kitchen my freshman year and now my sophomore year. So I was like, this is great. But again, like what you said, it leads to the other side where you start overindulging because you have no one telling you.
Right. We think food freedom is like eating whatever you want, eating as much as you want, but really
it's
kind of...
because then I just gained all the way back.
Right.
I just gained it all back.
But like, really that's just like almost another form of, I don't want to say restriction because it's definitely not. It's like definitely just overindulgence.
It's a different form
of yeah, exactly. And it's a different form of restriction. It feels like you need to have food to feel happy. At least that was my mindset. I like needed to have like all these sweet treats. Like I needed to have
like that was the activity. Was we made brownies and we ate the whole thing watching a movie.
Right.
And it's like, and I'm not saying that calories, I don't like that. I don't want them to rule over us.
Right.
Because there's more to food than that. And I think maybe, like, your nutrition background can speak on this. Like, there's more to food than just calories. There's, like, fiber, protein.
There's so many, vitamins and minerals.
But, like, if you, like, at the end of the day, like, that is what makes you gain and lose weight, is calories. And, like, the overindulgence of just so many caloric foods is just not healthy, and it's not good for your brain, like I feel like, and at least in my experience, like it just makes you feel lethargic, and it makes you kind of like more like if you have depression or if you're like leaning towards that, I think it can accelerate symptoms. So
it's just destructive behavior, honestly. That's what it felt like for me. It felt like, and whenever I was eating all these foods, I was eating very fast. It was like I had to like indulge in as much as possible. Like I had to enjoy it in the moment. And then when you're done, you just have this wave of guilt.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. And then that leads some people to like purge. I've never personally can't really speak about that, but I think I can see why that might lead people to purge, because it's like the temporary pleasure you get out of like that one meal or that huge meal. And then it's like, oh, what have I done? Like, it's going to ruin me forever. But it's like, I saw this TikTok. I don't know if this is true, so.
But you can fact check us.
Yeah, please fact check me. But I've seen this all over the internet. Is that like in order to gain a pound of fat on your body, you have to eat like 3,000 calories above your maintenance calories?
Yeah, it's like 3,500 or something, I think. Yes.
So it's like.
I don't know.
Something like that. I don't know. It's like these random people. But. So that gave me some peace of mind to where it was like the number on the scale doesn't necessarily always reflect
your
health,
it could be water weight, it could be so many different
weight.
factors. Yeah.
So it's like you kind of have to, I think people when they, at least for me, when they tend to overeat, like you want to punish yourself the next day.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, well, why did I eat that much today? I had that mentality ever since I was
in fifth grade,
9 years old.
Yeah.
I was like, I would be like, and like, unfortunately, like society and sometimes like parental expectations can kind of get in the way of that.
Definitely.
Because like, I mean, I'm not trying to speak ill of anyone, but like I think my mom has a certain relationship with food as well, and that you know, you model your behavior after your parents.
Yeah.
So if you are seeing this one type, and my dad too, like if they're listening, sorry, but you guys need to get some health coaching, because it's either like my mom, well, not anymore, not so much anymore, but when I was growing up, it was like no breakfast. It was like cereal for dinner, and it was like all this stuff. And my dad is like, if you want to lose weight, all you have to do is eat only protein, and that's not going to work.
So the people you're surrounded with, the environment that you're in, that definitely reinforces that.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to speak ill.
The content that you see, just anything.
Yeah, TikTok is a killer.
All of that reinforces that. It's just
because it also ruins your dopamine receptors.
Yeah,
because so it's like you're like constantly changing the information. Right. It's like, try this supplement, try this supplement, try this supplement. You're fat, you're skinny, you're blah blah blah. I'm like, I cannot handle this. What do I do? Right. What do I actually do with it? It's like so hard. So yeah, I love that. Like taking one step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like maybe you don't buy chocolate at the store and you instead get like, I don't know, something healthier.
A fruit.
Yeah.
A fruit.
And I
chocolate covered strawberries, or like, I don't know.
Yeah. And personally, I feel like calories are a little bit overrated. Like it's what society really talks about. But if you actually look at like what our brains are made up and our body, like we need healthy fats and healthy proteins and different things that all kind of like obviously help our body to be like fueled each day. And so even if something may be high in calories, depending on what it is, it could still be good for you rather than like probably eating a whole box of cereal, like chocolate covered, you know, like that is a lot of calories and that's not very good for you. So it's like finding the balance of like, okay, maybe this is high calories, but it's also going to be fueling my body. And another tip I would say too is just to read the ingredients. Like when you're at the grocery store, do your research and see like, okay, this has a lot of like refined sugars or a lot of seed oils or different things in it that maybe also is not good for me. And so going with a different option could be one start. Like, okay, I'm going to buy something today that doesn't have as much sugar in it, or vice versa, like whatever your goal is. And another thing too, when thinking about like what you want to make your goals, really like drilling into the why behind why you're setting these goals, like rather than just like, oh, I feel like I shouldn't be doing this, but what is the actual reason? Like, because you want to feel better, because you feel sad. And that, like, when you're doing those goals or trying to live that lifestyle out, like remembering your why and your motivating factor to be like, I'm not buying this at the store today, or I'm not eating this, or I'm not doing this because I want to achieve this. And so every decision we make is a yes and a no, because you're saying yes to something and no to something else. And so if you kind of view your decisions that you're making daily like that, it could be helpful in making better decisions or achieving your goals in a timely manner, or whatever you're kind of wanting to do. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
advice.
that's really great, because I actually had this kind of similar perspective in therapy recently of like, I was having this problem where I was comparing myself to other people who I thought had their lives together, but let's be honest, no one has their lives together.
No one has their lives together.
Yeah, that's not accurate.
No matter how
and it wasn't even like anyone. It was like an invisible audience that I created for myself. Like, who am I even trying to impress? But one of those things was like exercise and eating well. Yes, literally my own imaginary critic. Like, no one is. But I just felt like all these people that I was surrounded with were like skinnier than me. And so I was like, oh, they have to be working out and they have to be eating healthy. But it's like, that's just an assumption that I made. It's not always the truth. Like maybe they have a really fast metabolism, or maybe they're struggling with their food too. So it's like, it's impossible. And I think those like easy swaps are just so important, because it's like a realistic, obtainable thing.
Yeah.
So I love that.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely am wondering though, when it comes to setting these goals though with food, and when it comes to making healthier choices, like what tips would you give like to balancing that, but also not being restrictive and not seeing food as kind of like the enemy?
Yeah, I think even just like reframing your perspective on food and like what you're trying to achieve. For me, like I have done some food allergy testing and different things, so there's a lot that I'm like avoiding right now, and sometimes it can really feel like, even like especially now with the holidays, right? Like you go to parties and I'm like, I cannot eat anything here. And so thinking about it that way seems really negative, and even explaining it to people like, yeah, I can't have gluten, I can't have dairy, whatever. But I try to reframe it as like, no, I'm healing my body. And so I'm just eliminating this substance or this thing right now because I have something that I'm wanting to achieve, and looking at, if I eat this, also knowing like if I eat gluten, I'm going to be so sick and I don't want to feel sick, right?
Yeah,
so
I want to feel good.
I want to feel good and to nourish my body. And so it really is a mindset thing, and not viewing it as like, I can't have that or I don't get to have that. It's like, I get to have something else, and I get to feel good, and I get to nourish my body and continue working towards my goals. And so it's a very hard mindset shift for sure, because I feel like even on social media, like everything is very negative a lot these days. And so viewing things as more positive can be challenging. But I would also like challenge people to tell your friends or your family members or your group chats, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Like, can you help hold me accountable? Like, can you help encourage me when we're at a party or when we're at lunch, and be like, hey, you said that you were thinking that you were going to change your lifestyle or change this. Like, how's that going? And just have the conversations and have people that can encourage you, but not in a non-life-giving way. Like, not someone who's going to be like condescending or mean, but just like, just someone who's encouraging and like is there for you. And just remembering like it's not about perfection, because nobody's perfect and that's so unattainable. So if you eat something that you were like, yeah, I'm not going to eat this, like it's okay. And the next day is going to come and you still can try again. So not viewing it as like being so hard on yourself, but just like every day I'm just working on myself and trying harder.
Right. Reframing it, having other people holding you accountable, and just giving yourself grace. Like those are all like amazing tips.
That's a huge thing.
That's like, a huge thing.
I feel like I am very hard on myself. So it's like learning how to give yourself grace. Like, it's so easy to say it, and it sounds so like everyone says that, but it's actually the truest thing ever.
Right. Yeah.
It's actually the most like important thing that you can do for your mental health is to let yourself make mistakes and let yourself just like learn.
Yeah.
Because like it's like I was saying before, like it's your brain against you. Like you are the thing that's being affected here. So if you make a mistake, just try again the next day. Like it's not like you have to punish yourself, like, because there's no one affected by that. At the end of the day, there's nobody affected by this besides you. So you might as well just try again, because it's going to help you. There's not like, it's not like it's like a mistake you make. It's not like you break something and you have to, like, there's glass everywhere and then people can step on the glass. That's why you have to clean it up. It's you. It's your own health. And once you fix yourself, you're able to give, like, not fix yourself, that sounds like wrong, but once you work on, if you give yourself enough grace to like make mistakes and learn and grow, that's when I feel like you can be the best person you can be to other people, and you can have relationships and all that stuff. So the first step is just small goals that add up over time.
And I know, sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
But I know for people that they may deal with like OCD and like intrusive thoughts like myself, that sometimes giving yourself grace is very, very difficult. I think OCD sometimes can amplify guilt, especially more than the average person. At least for me, I deal with a lot of guilt, and that kind of like went into my relationship with food. A lot of times I felt like if I didn't have a perfect day of eating, then I was just unworthy, that I was just...
Yeah, you might as well just eat the whole box.
Right, exactly.
Like, which is so destructive.
Right, it's just such a self-destructive mindset. But just reversing those thoughts and making mindset changes, like you're saying, giving yourself grace as well. And I think having people hold you accountable is also just, it's so helpful.
People you trust that will hold you accountable. I think that's a really good thing, because it's like, you don't have to be alone in the struggle, you know?
Yeah. And too, like, if it's a more tangible tip, I guess, something that I like to do sometimes, and obviously I'm not perfect at this, I often forget, or I'm like, oh, I don't have time. But if you think about something and you're like, okay, I didn't eat perfectly today, and that's your goal, right? And you're like, I'm not feeling worthy, that's a lie and it's not the truth. And so taking even like a small note card or even in your like notes app, writing down like I am not worthy and then striking it out and writing the truth of like, no, I am worthy. And that helps like rebuild the neurotransmitters in our brain every time we do the opposite of like a negative thing that we're thinking. And so the more you reinforce the positive and you cross out the lies and tell yourself the truth, the more that it will be easier for you to kind of have that thought process moving forward.
It's definitely important to have something tangible. We just talked about journaling in our last episode and how important it is to just write down your thoughts. Sometimes that can really help to get your ideas out on paper.
Just like put it on.
And just rationalize things and just realize that things aren't as extreme as it's made to be in your head. Sometimes if you keep things in your head, it just gets like wrapped up and stuck in there, but getting it out on paper and realizing, okay, it's out, like I can deal with this. This is not true. These lies in my brain are telling me, like I don't have to let them rule my life. So that's definitely such a great tip. I'm a big fan of
affirmations. Like I think like putting your goals out and like either speaking them out loud or just reading them can really help like reframe your thoughts. Like, and the thoughts like still might come even if you're doing all these things. Like, I think sometimes people have a misconception about therapy or about, you know, like food, anything that like once you get it, you're gonna be perfect at it. But that's not true. Like you will still have the thoughts of I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. But learning how to get out of that and not live in that space is what therapy does. It doesn't get rid of it. That's never going to happen. Unfortunately, that's never going to happen. But
just trains you to deal with it better.
You can get out of it faster. And that's what's good. Like, and like the same mentality can go towards like eating right. Like you can get out of, you can like make better decisions faster for you because you know exactly what works for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I just had another question for you. So when it comes to things like dieting, like how do you feel about diet culture? Because I know some people, like they may have certain health goals and they may want to go keto. They may want to, you know, cut out certain foods like for certain reasons. But like when does that become something unhealthy or toxic?
I think, again, this really comes down to like each person and knowing your body and doing your own research, because there's so much on social media and on the internet too that's like, oh, you want to lose 10 pounds, do this. But everyone is saying that. Everyone has a different way to lose 10 pounds. So I think really it comes down to working with someone if you can, like a professional, a holistic person, a doctor, whoever it may be, nutritionist, dietitian, or just like listening to podcasts about it and thinking about kind of what I mentioned earlier, like a food log. I know that when I eat gluten, it makes my stomach really hurt for hours on end. So probably shouldn't eat that, right? So different things, and looking at your goals and your food logs, or just kind of like a mental note on what you eat. And then I would say that if it feels like it's becoming really restrictive, then it might be time to like reevaluate like what you're doing and look at maybe other options, or bring in a friend or someone else to kind of help walk through it with you. But personally for me, like even though my diet is not like to lose weight, it's just to achieve like better gut health and like level out my hormones and reduce my acne, it can feel restrictive, but knowing that it's also short term, like a lot of the things that we go through are just seasons of our life. And so we think like, oh, we're going to be on this diet for the rest of forever, but that's not really the case. And so thinking about like, okay, maybe I can't have dairy for a whole year, but then after that, like we can look at it again and think about what might be best for the next season. And so not viewing it as like this is a permanent change, but just something to help adjust for the now.
Right. When it comes to dieting, like that notion that you have to stick with it for the rest of your life and you can never have like anything with sugar in it ever again.
I hate when people say that.
It's just such a toxic idea, and it just leads to, you know, just awful mental health.
They're like, I saw a TikTok the other day that was like, well, if you counted calories to lose weight, how do you think you're going to keep the weight that you lost? I'm like, what's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, why would you say that? Because it just, I feel like that just discourages so many people from trying to get into a better, like, diet or a better, like, nutritional way of living, because it just feels like it almost feels like there's too much information out there.
Yeah.
So it's literally, like, flooding your brain. When in reality, like, I don't know. Just, like it should be, personally, I feel like it should be simpler than that. Like, it should be what your body is telling you.
Yeah.
But no one knows how to listen to their body anymore because of TikTok and like all of that, not just
societal
TikTok, but information
yeah.
that just spreads so rapidly, so quickly all the time. It's like, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I would say too, like, I feel like a lot of people, especially our generation, just want like the quickest fix and the quickest answer. And a lot of times that's not really reality. And so
Like
running
100% of the time.
Running to ChatGPT to say, hey, what's the newest diet probably isn't the best idea. Like maybe buy a few books or check them out at the library or listen to some podcasts, some more reliable sources on like what would be a better option for you rather than a quick Google search or someone you follow on Instagram if they're not really like a reliable source, you know?
Especially if you know they've had like a bunch of plastic surgeries and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, their diet's not the thing that's making them look like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's because they're rich and they have a personal trainer and plastic surgeons. Like I just think what we see on social media is just so fake.
It is. And I think limiting social media, like personally, everything I'm saying I have also done. So it's not like I'm just like throwing out things that I'm like, people should do this, but I don't. Like I have my screen time limited for all social platforms for an hour a day because I know that if I'm on there too long, I'm like, I'm ugly. Why do I have all this acne? Why is it working for everyone else but not me? And then it's just a spiral, and then I feel bad about myself all day. Or I'm overwhelmed by the information that's available. So I'm like, an hour is the max that I need to be on there to like keep my mental health in check along with everything else that I'm doing. But I would also say too, like at the dieting culture and all that, like the word diet I feel like is so overused because it's really a lifestyle. Like what I'm doing right now is a lifestyle change. It's not a diet. Like I'm not dieting to look a certain way. I'm not even dieting, but I'm changing the whole way that I live to like make my body healthy again. And so everything that I do, like I rarely go out to eat because I have to cook every meal at home. And that's a lifestyle change. It's not a diet. So I think also like if you struggle with food or eating disorders or anything like that, like refraining from using certain terms that might not even be really true to your circumstance could be helpful as well. Like even when you're explaining it to people, like, no, I'm just changing what I'm eating instead of like, oh, I'm on this new diet. So something
that puts
like that.
pressure on it, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on the side, I have to stick to it, but it's like, oh no, I'm just changing what I'm eating. I love that. Like I think that's so smart. Like
it's just another
just
another positive way of reframing things. It's so important when it comes to eating well. And honestly, like
anything, honestly.
Just like the name of this episode, eating well will lead to living well. Just eating well will lead to these better lifestyle, just a better lifestyle in general, but just better mental health and just, I don't know, for me.
It's all so intertwined.
Right. It's all so related. We don't think it is, but it truly is. The way our gut and our minds are connected, it's crazy.
I had literally evidence of that over the summer. Like I literally convinced myself I had Crohn's disease. Because, okay, I'm not crazy. My dad had Crohn's disease when he was like my age. So I was like, my anxiety got the best of me. I have that thing where like, you think you're sick, hypochondriac or whatever. So I convinced myself all the time that I have all these issues.
This is so real. Like same.
But the root of the problem is the lifestyle, I feel like.
Right.
Is the way that you're living and the way I was eating before. I mean, I'm getting a little bit better. I'm still, I'm not going to say I'm perfect because no one's perfect. But the way that I was before I gained all this perspective was just like, I don't know. I was just
out of control.
I was just like, I don't know. That's
for me. At least
I had no stability and it just made my stomach just get out of whack because it was like nothing was like working right in my brain or my body or anything. Right. So
So ultimately, ultimately when it comes to mental health, just eating well is just one of the steps you can take to just promoting a better lifestyle for yourself and to just, I don't know, building up I'm trying to think, just like a healthier way of, just a healthier way of living and just not looking at things as just restrictive. So that's one of the first starts. There's so many other things that play into just living a healthy life, but eating well is definitely one of the main ones, and that's why we wanted to talk about that today.
If you or anyone you know wants to improve their eating habits, don't hesitate to reach out to an organization near you. EatRight.org can help you find dietitians in your area, or the Mayo Clinic has general information on their site. For more insights from Samantha's perspective, visit her Substack at substack.com/@SamanthaAult.
Thank you so much, Samantha, for coming onto the podcast and for sharing your knowledge with us.
Yes, I found your insights so valuable.
Thank you so much for having me. I felt like this was such an insightful conversation.
Amazing. Thank you so much for everyone listening. We hope you had an amazing holiday season.
Bye. See y'all next time.